Welcome back to another edition of Financial Friday. We are joined once again with Jeff Kennedy of the Kennedy Wealth Group. Jeff, good to have you back with us. We've been going for a couple of weeks, but you're back this week with something really important to talk about, and that's debt. Now, of course, we know debt has been all in the national news, and it's also affecting families across the country. And even though we know it's important, a lot of us don't really take it as seriously as we should. Why should we really care about debt, Jeff?
Right, you know, we get caught up in it because of consumerism, the commercialism, and trying to keep up with the Joneses and so forth. And so we find ourselves in that debt position. I think oftentimes we don't really realize why it's that important, or the wealth that we really have available to us. And we end up giving away our debt, or our wealth, that is, to others in the form of finance charges. But when you consider, if you just make $30,000 a year over a 40-year career, you've made well over $1 million. So I challenge people to live today like others won't, so you can live tomorrow like others can't.
Right, exactly. So what is the strategy for dealing with all this debt?
Yeah, so if somebody finds themselves in that position, I recommend they throw a snowball at it.
Throw a snowball. Okay. You're going to have to explain this one to me, Jeff. What do you mean by throw a snowball?
Well, let's have a little fun with it, right?
Okay.
So we're going to snowball the debt. It's just a strategy that I've kind of used. It's comprised of several others that I've seen used to address this issue. And essentially, that begins by just listing out all of your debts. Many people haven't even taken the time to look at that. They just don't want to see it. So list them out with the balances, the minimum payments. You could do the math then to figure out how many months it would take to pay those off. And then if you take a look at the graphic, you can just order them then from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, based on the shortest payoff first to the longest payoff. Once you have that list, then we're going to add this beginning snowball, if you will, to the first debt, listed number 1. And we will pay that one off, and as you see, 11 months, because we're paying $475 on that instead of 18 months, we pay that off. And then do that with number 2 and number 3 and so forth. And in our example here, we'll pay off our debt entirely in 39 months rather than 59 months.
Okay, well, how do we actually get the snowball rolling, Jeff?
Well, just like you build a snowball, you're going to scoop up some snow in your hands and create that one. We're going to find that snow, so to speak, laying around in our finances, the cup of coffee you buy on the way to work, the extra meals out, and so forth. And by doing that, we'll get started with that extra $200 in this situation.
Okay, you've given us some great strategies for eliminating debt and building wealth, but if people want to get started, what can they do?
Yeah, go to the website, review this on the YouTube link there, and then also we have a resource posted there. It's a worksheet where they can do exactly what we're talking about on our graphic example here.
Okay, very good. And what are we talking about next week?
Well, we're going to talk about where to invest that snowball. Once you've got all those debts paid off and you're used to paying this big chunk, pay it to yourself to create some wealth for yourself.
All right, very good. Jeff, as always, good to see you. And Jeff, as Jeff mentioned, we do have links to all of our previous shows on our KHQA YouTube page. You can check them out there. We'll see you back here next week, and we'll have more news right after this break.